Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into the ultimate summer survival question for UK renters and flat owners. You know the feeling when that inevitable heat wave hits and indoor temperatures start creeping up. Yeah, you need to know exactly what your options are, and fast.
So, is a portable AC actually worth the money? If you're currently sweating through one of our rare, but let's be honest, absolutely brutal UK heat waves, you're probably wondering if dropping hundreds of pounds on a heavy plastic box is a wise investment. Well, let's find out. We're going to break down the hard data to see exactly when these machines are an absolute lifesaver and when you might literally just be throwing your money out the open window.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be comparing your options, decoding that confusing AC jargon, facing the reality of noise, looking at real UK running costs, and finishing up with some crucial buying and setup tips. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, Comparing Options and Alternatives.
Look, you essentially have three choices here. At one end, you've got cheap fans. They cost just 1 to 2 pence an hour to run, but, and it's a big but, they only move air around. They don't actually cool it down. At the total opposite extreme, fixed split systems give you whisper-quiet efficiency, but they require permanent F-gas installation, which can cost upwards of £1,900 for a single room. Ouch. So the portable AC sits right there in the middle. It gives you genuine temperature reduction without needing to call a builder, but, as we'll see, you do trade away some efficiency and quietness to get it. Moving on to Section 2, Decoding Aircon Jargon. Let's translate some of that confusing alphabet soup on the retail boxes, shall we? Okay, the most common metric you're going to encounter is BTU, or British Thermal Units per Hour. When you see this, just think cooling muscle. It's literally how much heat the machine can suck out of your room. To put that into perspective, if you're trying to cool a typical 15 square meter UK bedroom, you're usually going to need somewhere around 7,000 to 9,000 BTU to actually get the job done properly.
Now here's a fascinating little retailer trick to watch out for. Because 1 watt equals about 3.4 BTU, a 12,000 BTU machine mathematically works out to about 3.52 kilowatts of cooling power. Retailers love to round these numbers to make things look a bit cleaner, which is why you'll very often see these larger 12,000 BTU units marketed simply as 3.5 kilowatt units.
But wait, here is exactly where you have to read the fine print. That symbol, kW, or kilowatt, is used for two entirely different things in the air conditioning world. It can mean the cooling output we just talked about, or it can mean the electrical input, as in the power it's actually drawing from your wall socket. A portable AC might offer 2.5 kilowatts of cooling capacity, but only draw 1.0 kilowatt of electricity. Mixing those two up, yeah, that will completely ruin your electricity bill estimates.
So to tie those two different numbers together, we look at the EER, or Energy Efficiency Ratio. This is simply the cooling capacity divided by the electrical input. Obviously, a higher number is better here. Now, unlike the highly efficient SEER, or Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio, that you'd see on those expensive fixed splits, portable units use a single-point efficiency. For a portable unit, you really want to look for an EER of around 2.6 to 3.2. Honestly, anything lower than that, and you're just wasting electricity. All right, Section 3, the reality of noise. This is where expectations usually clash hard with reality. Noise is measured in dBA, which is A-weighted decibels. This basically approximates how the human ear actually perceives loudness. But the tricky part, decibels are on a logarithmic scale. Think of 40 decibels as a hushed, quiet library, and 60 as a normal, everyday conversation. Because the scale curves upwards, even a seemingly tiny numerical change, like going from 45 to 50 decibels, means a massive perceptual difference to your ears, especially when you're just trying to get to sleep. And of course, brands love to mix these metrics up to confuse you. You've got sound power, which is the total acoustic energy the machine is just throwing out into the universe. And then there's sound pressure, which is what your ears actually hear from where you're sitting. You always want to look for the sound pressure rating. It's incredibly practical to know that, in an ideal open space, sound drops by about 6 decibels every time you double your distance from the machine. So a measurement taken from 1 meter away is going to be significantly louder than one taken from 3 meters away. Bottom line, if you expect sleep-through-it silence from a portable unit, prepare for a reality check. Standard budget portables will absolutely roar away at 50 to 60 plus decibels. Even the absolute best premium quiet portables bottom out at around 43 to 45 decibels, and that's in their silent modes. They simply cannot touch the 19 to 30 decibel whisper of a fixed split system. Why?
because a portable unit keeps the noisy compressor right there in the bedroom with you.
Let's move on to Section 4, real UK running costs. What does it actually take to run these things during a heat wave?
For our calculations today, we're anchoring our numbers to the June 2026 off-gem price cap average for direct debit users. That sits at precisely 24.67 pence per kilowatt hour. Quick side note though, if you're using your AC later in the summer of 2026, that cap is set to rise to 26.11 pence in July, so your running costs will bump up just a little bit.
At that current tariff, a large 12,000 BTU portable drawing 1.35 kilowatts is going to cost you about 33 pence per hour to run. Run that for 6 hours a day over a hot 30-day month, and you're looking at nearly 60 quid. Meanwhile, a highly efficient fixed split system providing the exact same cooling power costs about 16 pence per hour, literally half the running cost. And a modern DC fan? Well, that costs barely over a single penny an hour. It's a huge difference.
Because running these units definitely isn't cheap, sizing your machine correctly is absolutely crucial. In fact, oversizing or undersizing your portable AC is the biggest economic mistake you can make. The US Department of Energy actually points out that an oversized unit cools the air way too fast. It shuts off before it even has a chance to properly dehumidify the room, which leaves you feeling utterly clammy and uncomfortable. On the flip side, a tiny unit in a massive, sun-facing living room is just going to run constantly. It'll never reach the target temperature, burning right through your wallet in the process.
Finally, Section 5, buying and setup tips to make sure you get the absolute most out of your investment.
Okay, first things first, size it right. A solid rule of thumb is 20 BTU per square foot of room space, and definitely add more if your room gets baked by the afternoon sun. Second, firmly seal that window vent kit. Most portables are single hose units. That means they use indoor air to cool their internal components and then blow it outside, which creates negative pressure. It is wild how many people skip this step. If your window isn't properly sealed, the machine will literally suck warm outside air right back into the room, through the cracks. It defeats the whole purpose. Third, keep that exhaust hose as short and straight as you possibly can to prevent the machine from overheating and losing efficiency.
You also really need to adopt some basic rapid-fire efficiency habits. Close your blinds during the day to block out solar heat. Clean your dust filters every single month. Seriously, clogged filters absolutely destroy your efficiency. Try pairing your AC with a cheap interior fan. It helps distribute the chilled air across the room so much faster. And finally, put the unit on a hard, level surface to cut down on vibration noise, and make sure to utilize those sleep modes overnight to drop the fan speed and, frankly, save your sanity.
So, what's the verdict? Ultimately, if you rent or you just need quick relief for a couple of weeks out of the year, a portable unit is a highly rational stopgap. It really is. But if you own your home and you find yourself losing sleep to the noise for 30 nights a summer, well, this might just be the stepping stone to your endgame, a permanent heat pump. With UK summers only getting hotter, you have to ask yourself, are you just putting a noisy Band-Aid on a changing climate? Or is it finally time to permanently upgrade your home's ecosystem?